Hello everyone, my name is Gopal. I'm a German trauma therapist, and in my videos I'm explaining certain patterns that people experience in their lives, in their relationships, and don't really understand because they are so deeply ingrained, so deeply imprinted in the nervous system, in the mind, that they have no idea what's actually going on. So we usually experience the result, the manifestation on the outside, and we don't really understand how we create all this. And all my experience for the last 10 years or so as someone who is helping people with these things, I realized that the core principles, the core mechanisms that drive our life, our manifestations are very simple, very basic, but the difficulty is to see that. So that's basically my job, to help people see their patterns. And they are patterns that it's always about survival in the childhood. Yeah, if we experience difficult situations, difficult relationship patterns, it's about the survival of the organism. And it has always something to do what we believe the other person is doing. This is a concept in the mind. And this has been developed during childhood as a result of our experiences. So for example, if someone has been abandoned as a child, the core idea that is being created by that is that if someone appears in my life as a potential partner, he will definitely leave me. So the core idea about life, about other people, about relationships is the other will leave me. And often this is not conscious. Yeah, it's a concept deeply imprinted in the mind, and it has such a power because it is at the core of our being, and it has been created during early childhood. So it's automated, it's unconscious, and this is the reason why it has such a power. Another example, if someone has experienced violence, then the thought that has been created during the childhood is, if someone comes close to me, he will attack me. So this is the core idea about life, about other people, about relationships, that the other will attack me. And again, it's so deep in our nervous system that we often don't know what kind of thought we have. And there are only four basic thoughts. These four thoughts represent the four biological defense mechanisms. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into developmental trauma or shock trauma and the biology around that, but to help you, it's enough to know that you hear all the four basic concepts. So I already mentioned two. So the first, there's no order, but I say the first one is that the other person will leave me. The second is the other person will attack me. The third is the other person will ignore me. And the fourth is the other person will manipulate me. So we have the four biological defense reactions projected onto the relationship level. So what are the four biological defense reactions? Yeah, what the body is doing, the system is doing, if there's danger on the outside. First, running away. This is flight. Fighting, of course, fight. Freezing. Or fawning, appeasement. Yeah. So we project actually defense mechanisms on the other person. And this is at the core of all our suffering. So as soon as you have found the thought that has become the basis of your whole life, then you have the possibility to ask, to bring it in contact. For example, in a partnership, if you are convinced that the other person will leave you, and you have found that this is your core thought, you can ask your partner, are you willing to leave me? Ask, yeah, and then you get an answer. And this is how you bring the childhood programming into contact with reality today. And no matter how the answer is, you are grown up, nothing severe can happen. Yeah. But it's important, it's crucial to bring this thought into contact. This is the only possibility to cut the identification with these thoughts. We have to express them. We have to ask someone if this is true or not. Are you willing to attack me? Are you willing to ignore me? Are you manipulating me? Yeah, it's about asking. It's about bringing it into contact and get in contact with reality, because your whole reality is distorted by these thoughts. In fact, you believe that the reality is one of these four thoughts. Yeah, and the reality as it is cannot reach you as long as you believe in these thoughts, in one of these thoughts. And you have to believe in one of these four thoughts because you experienced that in your childhood. It was a reality in your childhood. So there's no other way than overwrite that, than bringing it into contact and find out if it is true or not. And even if it is true, even if you get a reaction like, yes, I'm wanting to separate or whatever, that doesn't matter. The transformation is not being created by the response. Your transformation, your solution is you're bringing it into contact. It's not about the reaction. It is about you bringing it in contact, no matter how the reaction is. That bringing into contact your core thought is your transformation. It is your transformation. Because in childhood, you were not able to express that. You were not able to talk about your extreme state of emergency, of need, of fear, of panic, and so on. So that's why transforming developmental and attachment trauma is actually an easy thing. But of course, in reality, you may need help from a therapist, but the principles to dissolve that and the principle how you keep up your trauma is simple, is very simple. So we could say all the suffering on this earth, or all the suffering of humanity, is being created by one of these four thoughts. This is the core of all the suffering on this planet. And to give you an example, how this may manifest in your life. Let's make a typical example. For example, a woman comes to me and tells me, I cannot find a partner. So when I work with someone, I am not dealing at all with circumstances, with symptoms. That's the symptom. Yeah, this woman comes and says, I cannot find a partner. This is the symptom level. It's not the actual problem. So we experience the mind and what she believes. Yeah, what is the core concept? And after some time, we find out the core concept is that there is no one. And if there is someone, he will leave me. And this is exactly what this woman has experienced in childhood. And a typical situation for that is if, for example, the father was weak and she had a dominant aggressive mother. Another possibility is if the father went away or died. Yeah, in any way, if the father object, in what way ever or however it was not there, he was not there, we have an image in the person that there's, or we have an experience of that person that the father was not there physically or emotionally, psychologically. Yeah. So this woman, yeah, as an example, has not experienced the father masculine energy. And because of that, she may had to become herself the father. Yeah, she had to create this masculine energy in herself. Why? Because she had to suppress the extreme emotions of helplessness, loneliness, yeah, powerlessness. So with that configuration, today she has no chance that any man or partner will appear in her life, because she lives in these two poles, the deep loneliness and helplessness, and as a compensation, the artificial creation of power and strength, yeah, creating the masculine in the woman, which makes no sense at all, because this is not her nature. And these poles are created today by this core, in that case, by this core thought. There is no one, because there has not been a father figure. I did not experience the masculine energy in a good and protective way in my childhood. So I believe there is no one, there is no man. And if there appears a man, if a man appears, he will leave me. Or he is not a man. He is a helpless child and I have to care for him. Yeah. And with these thoughts, she creates a childhood again and again and again. Because why should a man appear? If she is herself the man, so what does she need another man? It makes no sense. Yeah. And even if a real man appears, the woman could not tolerate it. Yeah, because it would disturb the internal organization, the internal concept. Yeah, it would bring something completely new, and this would create lots of fear. And it is so unusual for such a woman that she either has herself to abandon, so she will leave that man, one possibility, to recreate her situation of the childhood. The other possibility is she gets aggressive to the man and goes into that powers dominant state and emasculates the man, controls the man, until he is not a man anymore, but a little dog waiting for orders. Again, she has created her childhood setting, so maybe there's a physical man there, but he is not a man anymore. So again, there's no masculine energy. Or if this man, is a real man, he will just leave. Yeah, he will just leave because he realizes in that relationship he cannot be the man. He will be either emasculated, or there will be endless fights and struggle. Yeah. So in any way, this woman will recreate her situation of the childhood. There's no man there. And at the same time, she says, Gopal, help me. I need a partner. I want a partner. But what to do? What should I do to find and get a partner? What can I do to maintain the relationship? And this is, again, the trap. The woman has nothing to do. That's not her nature. So how to get out of all this? How to help such a woman to find a partner, and how to help such a woman to live, because you cannot live with this configuration. It's impossible to have a beautiful life, yeah, because you don't have contact to the world. You cannot have contact as a dominant woman. This is not possible, because dominance is not the nature of women. You can have a pseudo contact, but not a real contact. And also you cannot have a contact by playing the helpless, lonely child. These are the two poles. Yeah, so how to help such a woman to find a partner and that she's able to start living. So the core of my work is to identify the thought, the core thought. And in that case, it is that she believes and is absolutely convinced that a man, a possible partner, will leave her. Yeah, and then we can look why. And there is again a thought behind it. Why? Because she says or she thinks, if I share my true state, my true feelings, my needs as a grown-up, she believes that this is too much for that man, and he has to leave, because she cannot even imagine that there's a real man who can not even tolerate that, but really want to hear that from a woman. She can't even imagine that. From her perspective, there are no men at all. They are just helpless, weak childs, yeah, but no men, yeah. So, and if we have identified that, I can help her to bring also that concept into contact and ask me, for example, Gopal, if I share my weakness and my neediness with you, are you running away? And then I say, no, of course not. Yeah, but again, the transformation is bringing that thought into contact to share it. This is the core of all the transformation. And if someone appears, you have to, as a woman, if you want something new, if you find yourself in that configuration, there's no other way to try something new. You have to try something new. And what new is to stop dominating, trying to stop dominating and controlling the partner, to avoid your deep feelings of emptiness, loss, helplessness, and so on. This has to happen. And if you ask the man what I described before, and you hear the answer, then you can do it, because you have heard. The man says, no, I have no problem with that. If you share what's really inside of you, all your emotions, I won't leave. I can deal easily with that. And this is, for most men, the case. Men can easily deal with all the turmoil women have inside, as long as they share it in a non-destructive way. For example, in the honest sharing style. If they just share it, if they act it out, of course, we men don't want that and we don't tolerate that, of course. But if you share it, it's not a problem for a man. So then it's about experiencing that. I can be the woman and the man is not running away. He can deal with all that I had to suppress in my childhood. And if he can deal with that today, I don't have to suppress it anymore. And then a real contact is possible. Then the energy flows through the system. And the whole developmental trauma, which is a huge word, yeah, a huge concept, is dissolved. It's not a big thing, actually. But it's a big thing to find that thought and to dare to ask if it is true. This feels like going through a death. And with the help of a therapist, of course, it's easier. And then if you have that experience in a therapy, you can start getting more and more in contact and allow man and the masculine energy into your life. And then things will really change, and you will get what you actually need and want. And the man too.